another section from In Love, at Ease. This is a book about everyday spirituality with Pramukh Swami Maharaj, who was a previous guru and president to the BAPS Swami Narayan Sanstha. That is a very large Hindu denomination with millions of devotees, and they focus on service, especially to their surrounding community, humanitarian efforts, and loving devotion, especially towards their form of the divine, which is Swami Narayan, a great being in the turn of the 19th century. Today we are asking the question, who was Pramukh Swami Maharaj? Pramukh Swami Maharaj, from 1921 to 2016, the fifth spiritual successor of Bhagwan Swami Narayan, who was from 1981 to 1830, was the spiritual and administrative head of the BAPS Swami Narayan Sanstha. He was a Sadhu and later a guru who followed the vows of detachment and celibacy. He was best known among his followers for his kindness, wit, and attentiveness, evident in his response to every call, letter, email, and request for personal audience. He was best known among other Hindus for building traditional stone Hindu mandirs, temples or houses of worship, and the Swaminarayan Akshardham complexes, which are grand articulations of ancient Indian architecture. He was best known among non-Hindus for his humanitarian initiatives, including disaster relief and building schools and hospitals in India, Africa, North America, and Europe. He was best known to those he worked with for his clear directions and effective, effortless management of people's expectations and varying sensitivities. He was best known to people who considered him an adversary for listening to them, welcoming their feedback, and tolerating their aggression. He was best known to other religious leaders for his capacity to hold space for open dialogue. He was best known to world leaders and politicians for his desire for peace and unassuming directness. Finally, he was best known to the sadhus, spiritual aspirants, or monks. He initiated for his warmth, compassion, and simplicity. Whatever the range of experiences, Pramukh Swami Maharaj came to be known as an exemplary model of genuine and generous human interaction. And this one introduction preceded his physical presence around the globe. The external flurry of activity that constantly surrounded him had no impact on his internal tranquility. The numbers and data of his social contributions are thoroughly impressive. For him, the 1,100 mandirs and cultural centers he built, the 250,000 homes he visited in 15,000 towns and villages in 55 countries, the 5 million people he met through 3 million personal consultations, 500,000 phone consultations, 700,000 letters he responded to, the 4 hospitals and 25 health clinics, the 30 schools and hostels, 30 mobile healthcare facilities, 17 disaster relief efforts, 125 tribal villages he organized, social, spiritual, and educational activities for, and his felicitation by 40 heads of state and in 5 parliaments around the world, including the United Nations, were all just one thing, an articulation of his selfless love for the divine that resided in all of creation. It was service and submission. Swami Shri's complete lack of interest in the theatrics and pomp that followed him was clear in his unwavering bhakti, devotion to the divine. He traveled with the small murti form of his deity, Hare Krishna Maharaj Bhagwan Swami Narayan, which was his life and soul. Though he saw the divine in all those around him, Swami Shri exemplified the Hindu tradition. I almost lost my voice there. I could feel it going. You know, why don't I take a quick sip of water in case it fully goes? That's better. Though he saw the divine in all those around him, Swami Shri exemplified the Hindu tradition of Murti Puja, personal human devotion to the divine expressed before a sacred image. Through his bhakti, devotion to Hare Krishna Maharaj, he always followed Hare Krishna Maharaj, whether it was entering a home preemptively, or let me rephrase that, whether it was before entering a home, giving advice, or even accepting an accolade from the Canadian Parliament. The Murti did not symbolize or represent God. It was God. He spoke to God, fed God, apologized to God, prayed to God, and submitted to God through this Murti of Hare Krishna Maharaj. This bhakti and its object of focus were Pramukh Swami Maharaj's strongest identity markers, and that is why he was best known to himself as a bhakta, a devotee, sadhu, and servant of the divine and the divine's creation. This is how he introduced himself and who he was most proud of being. Pramukh Swami Maharaj was born Shantilal to his parents, Motibhai Patel and Diwaliba Patel, in the small village of Chansad, about 15 kilometers from the central Gujarat cosmopolitan city of Vadodara, on the 7th of December, 1921. Young Shantilal was interested in spirituality and service from a young age, but he was also drawn towards sports. Cricket was his game of choice, and he took it quite seriously. Like spirituality, sport required commitment, discipline, and selflessness. Shantilal would help train his fellow players and organize tournaments. It was while he was preparing to purchase cricket equipment in a nearby village that he received a letter from his guru, Shastraji Maharaj, also known as Shastri Yagna Purush Das. The letter instructed him to leave home and prepare for initiation into monkhood. This was not the first time that his guru had spoken to him of renouncing home to serve society, but it was a clear injunction, and one to do so immediately. Shantilal left his cricket mates and headed home to seek his parents' permission. Brian McGuire, you are wondering, what does guru mean? Literally, it means heavy, as a Sanskrit word, but heavy in the sense of having gravitas, having a kind of weight, having importance, i.e., one who is important. But it can mystically be deconstructed into the syllable gu, which means darkness, and ru, which means dispeller of. So a guru is the one who dispels darkness, specifically the darkness of ignorance. So a spiritual master is ultimately what all these definitions are coming to. In a matter of minutes, a nearly 18-year-old Shantilal let go of all that he had held dear in life. He left behind his parents and siblings, village, education, and favorite pastime to submit to a spiritual master as an ordained Sadhu and serve in the Hindu community. It was a lifelong promise of egalitarian service. The injunction was his guru's, and the decision to abide was his own. He was initiated as a sadhu named Shastri Narayan Swarup Das on the 10th of January 1940 in Gondal, Gujarat. At 24, Shantilal was instructed to take on the administrative duties of the BAPS Swami Narayan Mandir in Sarangpur. At 28, he was appointed as the Pramukh, the administrative head of the entire organization by his guru. It was this appointment that earned him the name Pramukh Swami, the president or principal Swami. Shastriji Maharaj passed away in May of 1951, and Pramukh Swami worked as the administrative head under the spiritual leadership of his second guru, Yogiji Maharaj. These 20 years were a delicate balance of duty as the head administrator and of submission to his guru as a bhakta. In brackets, the author notes, I touch upon this balance between leading and submitting in the last section of chapter 2. We're still on chapter 1. After Yogiji Maharaj's passing away in 1971, Swami Shri took on the administrative and spiritual leadership of BAPS until the 13th of August 2016. He led the BAPS Swami Narayan Sanstha for 66 years as its administrative head and 45 years as its spiritual and administrative head. These 6.5 decades can be seen as one of the fastest and hardiest growth periods, not only for BAPS, but for any Swami Narayan community, and arguably any Hindu community in modern times. Small note that I will mention, although the BAPS might be the most noteworthy tradition that stems from the teachings of Swami Narayan, there are others. Swami Shri's spirituality was the force behind this growth, a focus on people and the divine, over numbers and bylines. Here are a few of Swami Shri's major accomplishments in terms of quality and not quantity. In 1979, Swami Shri went with volunteers to Morbi to feed and provide shelter to several thousand Muslim residents before Eid, I'm not sure how to pronounce this word, after the Machu Morbi Dam failure. In 1981, Swami Shri initiated the first saffron-garbed sadhus from Dalit and tribal communities in any Swami Narayan order, and perhaps in any Hindu order. On the 7th of April, 1984, Swami Shri met with Pope John Paul II at the Vatican City to discuss interfaith dialogue and harmony. He made similar visits to promote dialogue with the chief rabbis of the Ashkenazi and Sephardi Jewish communities in Jerusalem. In 1999, and with the Islamic leaders of various Gulf nations in 1997. In 1985 and 1991, he organized month-long cultural festivals in London, England, and New Jersey, USA, to raise awareness about the different regional traditions of India. In 1988, Swami Shri was honored at the British and Canadian Parliaments for his humanitarian contributions through initiatives organized in rural and tribal India. In 1995, Swami Shri inaugurated the first traditional stone Hindu mandir outside of India in modern times in Neasden, London. Not sure how to pronounce that either. Neasden. In 2000, Swami Shri addressed world and religious leaders at the UN Millennium World Peace Summit on the timeless teachings of peace and harmony from the Vedas, Upanishads, and the Swami Narayan scriptures. In 2004, Swami Shri inaugurated the first traditional stone temples in North America in Houston and Chicago. In 2005, Swami Shri inaugurated Swami Narayan Akshardham, New Delhi, as a mandir and cultural complex exhibiting India's heritage, culture and history to millions in the nation's capital. His creation of traditional stone architecture mandirs and Akshardham complexes in India and abroad not only contributed to the cultural, spiritual, and architectural landscapes of communities around the world, but they revived a lost art and provided a respectable livelihood to thousands of skilled artisans and stone carvers in Rajasthan and Gujarat. His engagement with religious and community leaders raised appreciation and awareness about Hindu communities and their practices in nations around the world. The awards, citations, and felicitations he received numbered in the thousands. But to him, they were just another means for him to act as a vehicle for his God, Guru, and the broader Hindu tradition and communities of faith. His genuine outreach to millions around the world was never to convert or impress, but rather to comfort and strengthen their faith in their own traditions and religions. The openings, inaugurations, and meetings he was required to attend continued at a rapid and frequent pace. It is no surprise that Professor Raymond Brady Williams referred to the Swami Narayan community as the new face of Hinduism in his first book in 1984. But numbers and accomplishments are not the subject of this book. The subject of this book is how, why, and for whom, and with what intent Swami Shri committed to lifelong service and selfless love. A closer look at his journey provides greater understanding of how he treaded his own spiritual path and helped others to do the same on their spiritual and worldly journeys. And we will look into the next section called Humanly Divine at another time, hopefully tomorrow. In the meantime, I thank you all for listening.